My ex-wife came out as lesbian and left me and my daughters 3 years ago. And now she's back. Throwaway because my daughters follow my main account and I want to avoid any misunderstandings. By the way, English is not my native language, so if there are any mistakes I want to apologize. So how do I start this? Well, 3 years ago my wife came out as lesbian. We've been together for many years. In fact, our oldest daughter was 14 at the time and my youngest was 10. Our life was good. Both me and my wife worked, so we had stable finances and I thought we were happy. That was until one evening my wife sat us down and explained that she was in love with a female colleague from her workplace and that she wants to be with her. She said she was sorry but she had to find out who she was and that would only be possible if she'd let her old life behind herself, blah blah blah. The typical breakup nonsense. On that day she left us and cut the contact. For me and my daughters the world fell apart. I knew that I now had to take care of my daughters all by myself. I was in a state of depression for a long time, but I kept fighting for my daughters. Every attempt to contact my ex-wife failed. Luckily I found a much better paying job that made it possible for me to give them the world. My daughters had good grades in school and I knew that our life would soon be better again. But once in a while when I took my youngest daughter to bed she asked if I would leave them like mom. I hugged her and gave her a kiss on the forehead and promised her that I would never leave them and that I loved them more than anything in the world. I was so angry at my ex-wife because she was the one that gave her those feelings. I wonder if she ever realized what she had done to our daughters. Fast forward to a few weeks ago. My daughters and I sat in the living room and I told them that because Christmas month was already next month they should write down what they want for Christmas. My oldest daughter is now 17 and my youngest is now 13. While they were busy writing the doorbell rang and I wondered who it was. When I opened the door I froze in shock. It was my ex-wife with a big smile on her face. She said she was happy to see me and she tried to hug me but I refused to hug her. My oldest daughter then came up behind me and asked me who it was, and when she saw her mother her face expression immediately changed. I've never seen her so angry. My ex-wife tried to apologize and she wanted to hug her but my daughter pushed her away and shouted at her to leave and that she never ever wants to see her again. Then my youngest daughter also joined us. She just got angry too, turned around and went to her bedroom. Then my oldest one followed her to comfort her. From the look on her face I figured she was ashamed as she should be. I asked what she wanted. She said that the last 3 years weren't good years for her. She constantly thought of her daughters and wanted to see them again, but for some reason she never came by because she was expecting this exact response from them. But she guessed that she deserved this. She asked if I could talk to them. I told her that I could tell them she was sorry and let them decide, but I will not push them into doing anything they don't wanna. She was okay with that and left. She also left me her new number to contact her. I then got into my daughter's room. She cried in the arms of her older sister. I told them what their mother has told me. I told them that if they'd want to meet her they could do that. It would be okay for me. My oldest daughter said that she cannot forgive her for doing what she did and that I was everything they need. It felt good to hear this. Really good. I always thought that being a single parent would mean that I might never be enough for my children. Hearing this made me so happy. My youngest daughter then said that she always thought she missed her mother, but now that she had seen her again she never wants to see her again. I texted my ex-wife about that. She read it but she didn't respond. But she didn't give up that easily. She showed to our house once more while my daughters played ping pong outside. I was in the living room watching TV when I suddenly heard loud shouting outside of the house. I immediately got there and I saw my oldest daughter arguing with my ex-wife. My oldest daughter shouted at her that she had no idea what she did to me. She told her about how depressed I was and everything I went through. This was kind of surprising because I wanted my daughters to feel secure with me, so I've never told them of my depression and the suffering I went through. Then she continued how she felt over the years knowing that her mother left her and that she'll never forgive her. My 13-year-old was crying while that happened, so I hugged and comforted her, but I also don't want it to interfere because if my oldest daughter wanted to tell her mother anything I'm not gonna stop her just to protect my ex-wife's feelings. Overall she never cared about our feelings either. After she was done she came hugging me as well and I told my ex-wife she should leave us alone once and for all. If she ever showed up here again we get a restraining order. She left with tears in her eyes. Well, that was 3 days ago and she hasn't showed up again so far. I just hope she leaves us alone. My daughters made it very clear they don't want to have anything to do with her. I wanted to give them the opportunity to meet their mother again because if there is any chance that my children have a mother again I don't want to stay in their way. But I'm glad they didn't give her the chance. I don't know if it makes me a bad person to think this, but I also don't think that my ex-wife deserves to be with her daughters again, so I hope the last encounter delivered the message.